Numbers 25 is an extremely intense portion of scripture, and it starts off in a really, really big way. It's actually, weirdly, one of my favorite stories in the whole entire book of Numbers, and once you read it, you're going to quickly find out why. All of the sudden, the Israelites are having these sexual relations, these Baal rituals with Moabite women. And a lot of them. It's going on, it's very prominent, so much so that an Israelite basically starts to have this ritual with a Midianite woman right in front of everybody. And Phinehas, Aaron's grandson, full of zeal, takes a spear, drives it through the man into the woman, and putting an end to all of those demonic acts. And God was pleased with Phinehas's zeal. And the question in all of this is, who is Baal? What's going on here? Who is this God? Is this a God? Is this a demon? Who is Baal? And let's do our best to answer that question in today's video. Now, first and foremost, Baal is actually a title meaning master or Lord. The Hebrew word literally means Lord or owner or master. And because of this, different regions had different Baals. For example, there is Baal Peor, Baal Zebub, and Baal Berith, and I hope that I'm pronouncing those names right. But Baal wasn't just a god, it was often a title of several regional fertility and agriculture gods. Baal was actually specifically in Canaan the god of storm and fertility. And so in the land of Canaan, when they would talk about Baal, they believed that if Baal was pleased, then they'd have good rain and that crops would grow good all year long. And if Baal was not pleased, then the soil would be bad, there would not be a lot of rain, and everything would go bad. And so they often would sacrifice to Baal in these ways. Now, Baal worship often involved sexual rituals. And we're going to see that more and more throughout scripture. But we're going to find things like ritual prostitution. We're going to find things like sexual ceremonies and fertility rites. And this explains why Numbers 25 links sexual immorality with idol worship. The two are in bed together and the two go hand in hand. Now, remember in verse 2 of chapter 25, it says this. It says that the Moabite women invited them to attend sacrifices to their gods. And what were the sacrifices? Sexual rituals, as we just read in the beginning of chapter 25. Here's something else interesting about Baal. Baal was actually the primary rival to Yahweh in the Old Testament. We're going to read a really interesting story about Baal in 1 Kings chapter 18. He's going to go up against Elijah, and spoiler alert, Elijah is absolutely going to obliterate Baal in every single way. One thing that we're going to find is Israel repeatedly will fall to the temptation of Baal in the book of Judges. Time and time again, because Israel relies so heavily on agriculture, they're going to continue to be tempted to worship and to fall into temptation to Baal. And so the Baal worship was rain and fertility come from him, whereas Israel knows that rain and fertility and multiplication come from the Lord. So here's one simple way to understand Baal as we journey through the Old Testament. Baal represents a false promise that prosperity, pleasure, and fertility come from something other than God. And we know that that's not true. In fact, we know that the last few books of the Bible, God has specifically been trying to divide Israel from all of the surrounding nations. He set up rules and regulations for them, acts of obedience that would separate and distinguish his people from other nations. And Baal, or this other god, is continually trying to muddy the waters between that distinction. Baal is not just a religion, it's a religion built on pleasure, prosperity, and sexual indulgence. And Israel is tempted to adopt it because it looked attractive and culturally normal. Baal's going to appear a lot in future chapters and books. But if this was helpful, make sure that you like this video, send it to a friend, and we'll see you next time.